All right, in today's vlog, we are going to be making something really super cute. If you guys know anything about me, you know that I love thrifting, and I especially love upcycling things into something brand new. And so we have been just dying to create this super beautiful shelf cabinet. I don't know what you want to call it, but the idea is that you get an old frame, and then we're going to build a cabinet behind the frame. So it's like got a door, you can open it. I hope I'm making sense. But we need to go get a frame. So we've got to go, I think we'll go to either Goodwill and see what they have. If we don't find anything there, there's a couple other places that we could go. And then we're going to have to go to Home Depot and get all the things we need. So let's go ahead and head into town and see what we can find. Okay, we are at Lowe's and I need to get some wood for the frame as well as some hinges. We have some wood at the studio, but I don't know if we have enough. So I'm going to measure our frame out and I'll show you guys how we do that back at the office. Just so you kind of have an idea, because not everybody's frame is going to be the same size, right? Because they're all thrifted. So we're going to go into Lowe's and get some wood, get some hinges. I'm thinking maybe some paint. I don't know. We'll see what we end up with. Okay, we got wood. I got 2 6-foot boards. I was gonna get one 8-foot board, but I was worried it wouldn't fit in my car. There were lots of people at Lowe's, so I didn't bring the camera in, but sue me. So anyways, I got that, and then I showed you guys the frame in a little clip, but I just wanted to show you with me, like it's pretty big. It's a pretty big little frame. It's from Bed Bath & Beyond for $35. We're gonna have to cut this out because we're gonna put our own artwork in this, and I think I'm going to make my own mat, which we did a project on that. I'll link below for you guys. Actually, it was a members only class. So if you are a Makers Gonna Learn member, then you can go watch that master class. But we did watercolor DIY mats because you can cut your own mats with a Cricut. Who would have thunk it? So anyways, I'm gonna create a mat, create some artwork in Canva to put in here, and we need to build the frame. Will we get it all done today? I don't know. I think I'm going to work on the artwork for today and then see if we get time to building the frame. But yeah, so let's go ahead, hop into Canva and see what we can come up with. Other thing, I bought some hinges. These are just, I bought white because I was thinking I'll probably paint the cabinet white, but now I'm not sure because I don't want to paint the frame white. I don't know, we may end up taking those back, but altogether I spent $21 at Lowe's and like $4 and some change at the Goodwill. So we're not in too deep, and if you already have some wood, then you could probably just make this with scrap wood. Okay, so I am going first to the Makers Gonna Learn website, and I'm going to find a file. Okay, so I am just looking through these duck files, and we have this really cute duck pond. It's like a watercolor painting situation. We're gonna use that one. So let me open up Canva, and I'm gonna be creating a document that is the size of the biggest part of the inside of the frame. So I measured this way and this way, and it's 11.5 by 15. That is going to be our mat size, but I'm going to make it that big and then do the like actual print dimensions inside of that. If you just follow along, and it'll make sense here in 2 seconds. So 11.5 by 15. We're doing this in inches. Create new design. So the size right here is the size that I just showed you guys. And then I'm going to come over here to elements, and we're going to grab a shape. And I am just going to size this up. Also, I don't know if this works with other elements, but used to with Cricut, you could not, used to with Canva, you could not resize the shape on the edges, but you see how there's these arrows now? So I want to have a pretty thick mat around this, just because I think that will be the cutest. And sometimes I even like it to be, let's do like 8 by 10. It's 8 by 10. Perfect. Okay, now we need to upload our image, our duck pond. Okay, so cute. And then I am going to look at some patterns and see if I see any I like. Okay, so I'm printing this on an 8.5 by 11, which is great because I need like a little bit of an edge on my print to attach it to the mat. And we made our design 8 by 10, and then we are going to go to media and quality, feed from rear tray. I'm going to print this on a thicker cardstock just because I think it's going to be better that way. And this doesn't have like glass in front of it. But I do have a fun little thing that I saw on TikTok some people did where they would take Mod Podge and like add it to art to make it look like gessoed. We're going to do that because I think that that would make this look even better. So I'm trying to go for like a vintage vibe, you know. So anyways, we're going to print this from the rear tray, and I'm using the Canon TS9500 series printer. It's our ride or die printer here at the office. It's just an inkjet printer and relatively cheap. You know. Okay. And we're going to do best quality always. Little behind the scenes of our storage. I'm looking for fabric. Okay, we've got 3 options. We're gonna see how these work. Let's go look. Okay, we're gonna go with the strap fabric. So we've got a piece of artboard. I thought this was like photo mat board. We were actually gonna throw it out because we like didn't know what it was, but this is artboard from Hobby Lobby. It's just a 16 by 20 piece. It's got a $4.99 sticker on it. So you could do this. You could also, if you have like a big piece of cardstock, create your own, but this is like it's a pretty hefty board. So we're going to cut out an 8 by 10, even though this guy is 8.5 by 11, we're going to cut out an 8 by 10 square, and this is going to fit nicely right in the middle of here. And then I'm going to cover this in that striped fabric. And yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. We're getting places. Okay, we're gonna go with the striped fabric. So we've got a piece of artboard. I thought this was like photo mat board. We were actually gonna throw it out because we like didn't know what it was, but this is artboard from Hobby Lobby. It's just a 16 by 20 piece. It's got a $4.99 sticker on it. So you could do this. You could also, if you have like a big piece of cardstock, create your own, but this is like it's a pretty hefty board. So we're going to cut out an 8 by 10, even though this guy is 8.5 by 11, we're gonna cut out an 8 by 10 square, and this is gonna fit nicely right in the middle of here. And then I'm going to cover this in that striped fabric. And yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. We're getting places. See how this is like gesso material, like textured? That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna do that with the Mod Podge. Okay, I made an oopsie and obviously didn't measure this to the size of the frame. It happens. What I'm gonna do is kind of line this up in here. We can use our little art piece. Might be a better way to do this. I'm gonna trace this on here and see. Let's measure it, because I totally eyeballed that. We've got like 1 3/4, 2, and a little over 2. All right, there you go. Beautiful. Wow. Okay, let's just put it in the frame and see if it fits. If it fits, it ships. I gotta take those staples out. Remember, it doesn't have to be pretty yet because we're gonna cover it in fabric. So really, we're just trying to make sure like everything's gonna fit nice and snug. It's not super snug, but there's staples up here in the corner that are like not letting it sit flush, so. All the staples are out. Mat is cut. We've got a Mod Podge this now, so I'm using Maker's Magic, which is kind of like Mod Podge, but better typically. I was saying I wanted to use Mod Podge because it's more streaky. Maker's Magic is very like self-leveling, and I need this to be kind of textured. We're gonna test out like a little area. Okay, so I'm not doing a lot. Again, if you did this on copy paper, it's gonna make your paper really like wrinkly. That's not what we're going for. We just want it to look like painted almost. Give it some texture. And you don't want this to be neat. You're kind of making little X shapes. This is glossy, kind of gives a sheen. Can you see it from over there? Just add a little something. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is add the fabric to our matting. So I'm gonna flip this over, and if you've got any like excess little pieces of the cardstock, kind of get it off with the True Control knife or tear it off. And then I'm gonna actually iron this fabric first. Okay, that's pretty ironed. I'm gonna take the mat and lay it on here, face it down, and I'm gonna kind of sketch this out. Now for the outer edges, it's gonna be kind of hidden, but for the inner edges, we want it to be pretty neat. So those I am going to kind of fold over the insides of the mat. Now, professional framer people, don't come for me. That's not the way to do it, but that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to cut this fabric. I'm gonna also cut little 45-degree angles right here. At each corner, we're gonna cut a slight angle so that the fabric can fold over neatly. For the middle, I'm just folding it in half and I'm gonna cut a hole like so. And then I'm going to neatly cut out this middle piece. Okay, now I'm gonna make sure to reinforce these 45-degree cuts right here so that these can lay nice and flat. Okay, we're gonna get our mat. We're gonna dry fit it. I'm really trusting the process on this one. I think we're gonna be okay. Okay, I'm gonna take my Maker's Magic and I am going to glue this to the board. I'm actually gonna erase all these little marks just in case, because I don't wanna glue it down and then you be able to see pencil marks through it because it's kind of see-through. If you have a heavily patterned fabric or if it's darker, then I wouldn't worry about it too much, but where this one is a little bit thinner and lighter, just worry. You'll be able to see these pencil marks. Now for the innards, these parts, because I could add glue right here on the inside. Maybe that's just what I'll do. I'm just gonna lift this flap of fabric up and take some of this Mod Podge and kind of lay it right there. It takes a second to get tacky, but I think that that's gonna work perfect. This is it. Let's put it in our frame. I have made an absolute mess over here. I'm gonna straight up trim the top of this fabric, because I think just that little amount is what's holding us back. So I'm just using washi tape, but you can use masking tape, scotch tape. Honestly, it doesn't really matter as long as it's gonna stay. And I put a piece here. I'm kind of pulling it taut. Let me make sure it's straight before you. It's not. So you want to make sure you've got it on there pretty straight. Okay, so this is what we're working with right now. There are a couple things that I need to fix, but also we've got to build the cabinet. So I am going to hit this again tomorrow and hopefully get it done. But yeah, it's looking good. Okay, we're back. This is where we stopped, but we need to add our cabinet. So I took the original art and put it back in here. It's kind of loose though, so we are going to have to staple this in maybe. I'm probably going to staple it in. You could also cut like a piece of wood if you wanted back here, but we're trying to use as little tools as we need. So I'm probably going to either nail or staple this in because I don't really plan on changing the art out personally, but you may want to reconsider if you do want to change the art out often. Anyways, I'm going to attach this and then we're going to build the frame. Okay, I am in our tools area, which we just moved, so it's kind of a hot mess, but we're working on it. I need a nail gun. If you've never used a nail gun, this is like a good core tool to have as a crafter. I say a nail gun will do a lot of good for you. A staple gun, something, you know, not too crazy. A drill. But we don't need a drill. We need a nail gun and a stapler. Or, worst come to worst, we can hot glue it in. That seems a little unfinished to me, so I don't really want to do it that way, but if we needed to, we totally could. I am going to need a tape measure, so let me get that. Possibly some wood glue. A sanding block. I've decided I'm just going to use the nail gun to attach the frame, so let's do that. I'm flipping it around so the artwork isn't actually showing. And then that's not going to work. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you can't put the nail gun all the way up flush with the edge. You kind of have to hold it out. You can see right here, it's kind of out. That's what we want because I want it to be held in. You know what I'm saying? So we're not putting it all the way flush to the side. We're kind of holding it out, maybe like 1/8 of an inch. Okay, beautiful. She's cute. She's gorgeous. Now we've got to measure our shelf. So I don't want the shelf to be the entire width and height of the cabinet. I kind of want it to be like inset. So I'm going to measure slightly smaller than the frame. So grab your measuring tape. We're going to measure our frame. 17 by 21. So I'm thinking if we did 15 by 19, that's going to be perfect. So we're going to build, we need to build a frame that's 15 by 19.
Or 3 skirts. I like that was a different.
When I tell you this piece of wood made the entire frame to a T. I did add an extra inch. So I've got two 16-inch pieces and two 20-inch pieces. I'm going to 45 degree, like put 45 degree angles on them. So it should work out good, but I always like to give myself a little bit extra room because I'd rather it be a little bit too long than a little bit too short and then you can't use it. So added an extra inch. We're going to go ahead and cut it. I am using a jigsaw for this. You can use a miter saw, whatever kind of saw you've got. You can use a hand saw if you're more comfortable with that. A jigsaw is also another good crafter tool that I recommend, especially if you're like a sign maker or if you do like doing woodworking. A jigsaw, add to your Christmas list. We've got our frame pieces. Let's sand them. So you don't really need to 45 them necessarily, but it looks a little bit better. They're going to be hidden, so I think I'm just going to keep them as they are, and I've just kind of laid out the frame. Let me show you guys. So this is kind of what we're looking at. Obviously, I want to put a shelf across the middle. I'm going to go ahead and build this and then measure the distance between these two, and then we will assemble and stain. But also you can see where the corners, they're not perfectly lined up right now because I've just kind of got it dry fit, but we're going to attach those together just as they are. Okay, this little guy right here, if you make a lot of frames, this can-do clamp is so nice because you can just slide one piece of wood here, one piece of wood here, and then you tighten it up, and then it allows you to nail it together. And it's so much easier because if you try to hold both of the pieces, try to put the nail in, it's just kind of a pain. So I'll show you guys what this looks like. Beautiful. And then we can take that nail gun and put nails right there, and it's going to hold it in place for us. Just so nice. We've got one corner. So you have to use scrap wood pieces to kind of hold these pieces straight. Is this the best woodworking job I've ever done? Hard no. But you know what? We're going to make it work. It's going to be cute. It's going to be functional. And it's going to be hidden. More importantly. But I'm just not on top of my game today. So anyways, we need to build a shelf for the middle of here. Because I'm thinking like, you can put your perfumes in there. Your sunglasses. I don't know. Whatever you want to put in here. Medicine. So I'm going to just create a shelf along the middle of this. So I'm just going to measure it, cut it, and install it with the brad nailer. I'm going to do 2 smallish shelves and then 1 taller shelf for like body sprays or hair products. things like that. Here she is in all her glory. Now I'm going to sand one more time, and then I'm going to stain, and then we're going to attach it. I'm not 100% sure how I'm doing that yet. I have hinges. We'll see. We're going to figure it out together. Okay, so I have just lined my shelf up on the back of the photo frame, and then I took the hinges, and I have not drilled them in yet, but you can kind of see I just put this as close to the edge as I could. You will have to kind of bend them. These are honestly kind of heavy duty. I don't know that I necessarily needed them to be that heavy duty, but it's going to work, I think. So let me go grab the drill, and we're going to attach the shelf to the back of this. And I think some just standard like D hooks or maybe some zigzag hooks will be fine, depending on how heavy it is that you're going to be putting things in here, because the whole shelf isn't like super heavy, but you want to have something that's going to hold this plus the things you're going to put in it. So let's go ahead and drill these in. So these are the screws that came with it. They're not super long. I'm not worried about putting them into the frame we built. I'm a little worried about putting them into this frame, but it's kind of thick. You can honestly take it and see, like, I'm pretty sure it's going to go through. But I'm going to go ahead and drill these into the actual shelf just for stability, and then we'll go from there. Okay, here's the ultimate test. Okay, will it open? Oh my gosh, am I a cabinet maker? Hello. I put it on the wrong side. I put it on the wrong side. I opened it on the wrong side. Okay, don't be like me, because I'm not going to redo that. You want to put them on the other side, but you know what, that makes it a little bit more inconspicuous. Also, I would recommend painting this part the color of whatever your walls are. So if your walls aren't white, don't paint it white, but like if you have tan walls, paint it tan. I don't know, I feel like this being the color of the wall is going to be a lot more inconspicuous than staining it, because I was going to stain it thinking that would look good, but you want it to be like hidden. So anyways, there's that. We need to put some maybe hangers on the back. Okay guys, that's it for today's thrift flip. Let me know in the comments what you thought, what you would do different, and are you going to try to recreate the same exact thing? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so you're notified every time that we post new crafty projects, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.